All right, my friends, I hope you're ready for this because this video exposes the CIA operation that's been going on in the Ukraine for many, many years. And basically, remember this video that that I released a couple days ago? It was on the illegal prison camps with torture and all that kind of stuff. Just listen into this real quick because it exposes something, and we're going to look into that stuff in this video. So check this out.
There are many videos that appear to show Aidar members being trained by instructors from NATO countries. And here is more data pointing at the group's possible connections with the West.
This is what was found, among other things, here at the Aidar Battalion base. A very interesting piece of literature titled Tutorial for Participants of Russian-Ukrainian War. It was published in 2021. But here we see something more interesting. National Endowment for Democracy, America's non-governmental organization, allegedly affiliated with CIA.
Here it is. Here it is. That's it. That's it. These four things right here. Okay, so we're going to go through those just real quick. Once again, Veteran Hub, IREX, NED, and the Freedom House. So let's take a look through that, starting with the NED, or National Endowment for Democracy. This is on Wikispooks, and the NED's president, Carl Gershman, explained it would be terrible for democratic groups around the world to be seen as subsidized by the CIA. We saw that in the 60s, and that's why it has been discontinued. We have not had the capability of doing this, and that's why the endowment was created, to do the work of the CIA in foreign countries. That's what's been going on. New York Times reporter John Broder wrote in 1997 that the NED was created to do in the open what the Central Intelligence Agency has done surreptitiously for decades. They fund both Republicans and Democrats through different orders. There's a National Democratic Institute for the Democrats and International Republican Institute for the Republicans. So that's why you see them all go for the same thing when things really matter, like war and taxation and stuff like that. They all seem to be, going head and heels. That's why, because they're dealing with these people, and they do all this stuff internationally as well. Now, we found something yesterday by MR Online. Now, Monthly Review is, I think it's a commie organization, to be honest with you, but what they uncovered, or at least they picked up on, was that the National Endowment for Democracy deletes the records of funding projects in Ukraine. And they show the link here. So I checked it out for myself. And sure enough, these are no longer on the website for the International Endowment for Democracy. There are 334 different grants that they give out through this one, totaling $22 million or over $22 million. One thing that I wanted to point out was Pravda. So there's a whole bunch of other things, and for brevity, we're not going to go through all these obviously today. I will be following up on this and looking through all of these different ones, but one that I just wanted to show you, for example, is Ukrainska Pravda. And to promote accountability and improve government transparency through investigative reporting. So propaganda. That's basically what it is. CIA propaganda, right? CIA-funded propaganda. If we go quickly into the Pravda, you can see that along with Hromadske and Center for United Action, it is part of the Kiev Media Hub. They were started right before the coup of Ukraine in November 2013, so a couple months before that started. If you look into their funding, you'll see that they received money from the Netherlands Embassy, the US Embassy, and the George Soros International Renaissance Fund. Keep that name in mind because we're going to find that again later. Freedom House, as you can see right there. Freedom House is on the front lines in promoting freedom and democracy. But I wanted to show you who's funding them. Primary funding for Freedom's House programs comes in the form of grants from USAID. You might have heard of them before because last year it was reported that USAID funded Peter Daszak's EcoHealth Alliance. You know those guys that were studying bat coronaviruses in Wuhan Institute of Virology? The USAID, United States Agency for International Development, is an agency of the U.S. State Department which is stated mission, the stated mission, to provide international development. In addition, it has also gained global notoriety for its extensive role in helping brutal dictatorships repress, torture, and murder, its role in facilitating drug trafficking, and its decades-long effort in mass sterilization. A former USAID director, John Gilligan, admitted that it was infiltrated from top to bottom with CIA people. Gilligan explained that it was the idea was to plant operatives in every kind of activity we had overseas, government, volunteer, religious, every kind. And it plays a big role in strategic products such as population control and forced sterilization campaigns. Interesting, huh? And it does have the nickname of CIA's little sister. They target dissidents as well. You can see through that. And they've also had a hand in places like Cuba, starting a Cuban Twitter. They also had a hand in Venezuela, back to Freedom House, which is the, I guess, the little sister company to USAID. I was wondering if they were, I went to their websites and went to their programs because I couldn't find the same kind of funding thing that you saw for NED. But I found Ukraine here under Eurasia of the programs. And I was wondering, maybe they did the same thing as they did on the NED. And sure enough, as you can see, they were down to 3 different initiatives. But when you go back, not even a month ago, they had a whole bunch more. 2 extra ones, like expanding allies for LGBT, whatever, 2K, HD, double extra XL rights in Ukraine, and united to confront hate-motivated violence in Ukraine. And then we have this entire list of groups that was removed. I don't know why they do that, do you? But I wanted to show you a couple anyways, just right off the hop. We have Truth Hounds, which was one of them, a team of experienced human rights professionals that have been working on documenting war crimes and crimes against humanity. Oh, you know, like torture in prison camps. They seem to have missed that one. We had Fulcrum here, and that was taken off. And I noticed they're flying the old rainbow flag, right? And I noticed LGBT military. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So I took a look into that. And, you know, I don't really care if they want to make a gay military. That's fine. Whatever. It's funded by the Embassy of the United States in Kiev. Oh, yeah. So I clicked on Become an Ally, right? And they bring me over to the Manifesto of Equality. Okay? And then when I go down, I keep looking through. What do we see here? The project is implemented with the support of the International Renaissance Foundation, which, if you remember from the beginning of the video, founded by George Soros. Now, isn't that interesting? Let's get to the next one, Veteran Hub. Now, when I went to Veteran Hub's website, I noticed that this is all that shows up. I can't look up anything else at all. Right? They just show up, get support from your people during the war. They wiped their website. So I tried to run some searches through some websites, and I find one that was like About Us, and that was pulled off the internet. So I try and go through the Wayback Machine. For some reason with this one, it took me at least 20 screenshots to get anything at all. It was like they nuked every last bit on the archive. So this was the best that I could find here. There's a whole bunch of like these links that you can't see, but I wanted to show you who they're partnered with just for 1 second. It's hard to find this. Give me one moment. As you can see, there's not much that you can find. Here it is, eef.org.ua. Now, if I were to click on that, which I have it already, you can see that the EEF, developing e-democracy, supporting startups and bringing innovations to e-services. The Eurasia Foundation began operating in Ukraine in 1993, shortly, about 2 years after their independence. Since then, EF has invested more than $44 million in grants, loans, and technical assistance in Ukraine. But once again, we find USAID LEV program, USAID, CIA's little sister, remember, Leadership in Economic Development program, meaning that they stick their people into businesses. Oh yes, more donors. Okay, so they got U.S. Agency for International Development, the European Union, Swiss Confederation, and other European governments, international organizations, foundations, charity organizations, local authorities, Ukrainian and international companies operating in Ukraine. For the Veteran Hub, this company that you find that's on that book, it's actually owned or chaired by this this little lady, Ivona Kostina, taking care of war veterans, is a passion of activist who helped start Veteran Hub. Yeah, she helped start it. She is, I think at this point, she's 24 or 26. 26. This was 4 years ago, this article. She is the daughter of a Ukrainian ambassador, never went to college, opened Veteran Hub in November to bring together several nonprofits helping veterans. She was one of about 400 people from whom Berkut Raya police brutally dispersed on the November 30th, 2013, the first days of the Euromaidan Revolution, which is the coup d'etat that took over the democratically elected government that was in Ukraine. And she was one of the first 400 people. The violent dispersal brought more people to the street. And you know what? Going back to this group, Hromadske, where they just popped up right before that revolution, and they were the ones with the cameras on the ground to garner support and lobby support from the Ukrainians while this was all happening. There was them, and there was a couple other channels as well, but this was primarily started right before all this happened, and they sprang into action. Just all total coincidence, of course. Her latest undertaking, Veteran Hub, which brings together 8 nonprofits that provide legal, psychological, and employment assistance to veterans, Kostina drafted the project and gathered financial support from the Viktor Pinchuk Foundation. So at 22 or whatever year that she started it, probably even earlier than that, she just creates this company that ends up on some CIA glow-up manual. I'm sure she was truly the mastermind, of course. It has nothing to do with this guy, Viktor Pinchuk, who I have right here. And he is an oil and steel magnate in Ukraine, at which he's worth about $1.44 billion as of January 2016. Can only imagine what it is now. Yeah, let's just get to the philanthropy. And as you can see, of course, yes, Paul, you were right.
Die Menschen, wie sie ihre Maschinen. Oi, Gewalt.
Of the World Economic Forum in Davos. The foundation supports and works with a variety of partners, including the network Yalta European Strategy, to try and get Ukraine to join the EU. The Clinton Global Initiative, the Tony Blair Faith Foundation, the Israeli Presidential Conference of Facing Tomorrow, and Legal Clinic's legal aid projects of the Renaissance Foundation, which once again, remember, George Soros. Its projects include giving $150,000 to the Trump Foundation as a speaking fee in 2015, the Clinton Global Initiative, the Elton John AIDS Foundation, Aspen Institute, another huge name, a film with Steven Spielberg, lots of alleged pedophiles on this list. February 13, Pinchuk committed to giving half or more of his fortune during his lifetime and beyond to philanthropic causes, joining the Giving Pledge, a philanthropic, I can't say it today, I don't know why, initiative founded in 2010 by Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. Donated from $10 to $25 million to the Clinton Foundation over a 10-year period. Invited to dine at Hillary Clinton's home during her tenure at the State Department. She and Pinchuk, talking about his wife, Olena, are friends of singer Elton John and former U.S. President Bill Clinton, whose 65th birthday party Pinchuk attended in Los Angeles. So they're real close. Let's go back to Ivona Kostina, which is puppet, obviously a puppet. Since 2016, 2 years before she created this Veterans Hub, part of One Young World, not-for-profit organization that gathers young leaders from around the world to develop solutions to the globe's most pressing issues. The One Young World Summit, which has been referred to as Young Davos, is an arena where delegates discuss global issues and develop solutions. All of these, because these young leaders, okay, they're so awestruck with being selected by these people, right? That they They just follow along. These people are not leaders of anything, okay? They just follow along what they've been told to believe. They've been coaxed by the propaganda that you can see now. This is where, when you go through this is, they've been told what to think with these millions of dollars of propaganda through all of these different groups, okay? And then they come to the same conclusion, all by their own, of course, right? No, it's because they've been groomed. It's because they've been groomed. And once they have shown that they're a good, obedient agent, whether they know it or not, they are selected to go to these things. That's how this works, right? The leadership of One World, or One Young World, these people are pretty interesting in and of themselves. She's from marketing, Kate Robertson. I think it's Havas. Yeah, Havas Group. And then you have this guy here who is behind a lot of tech companies in order to scale down the costs of companies and maximize its ability to build its brand. That's something to take a look into. If you're into any companies for tech and stuff like that, you've noticed that they've become a husk of themselves these days. That's what's going on there. You have companies like that coming in. And you have the likes of Michelle Yeoh, which was like a blonde girl, Paul Pullman, Monica de Grief. I think over half of these are Catholic educated, by the way, including Luis Javier Castro, who is a Georgetown, just like Bill Clinton, a Georgetown University, a Jesuit school graduate. And if you go into their profiles, almost every last one of them have either played a hand in Davos or with the World Economic Forum. Last but not least on this list is IREX. IREX works with partners in more than 100 countries in 4 areas essential to progress: empowering youth, cultivating leaders, strengthening institutions, and extending access to quality education and information. Of course, the information that they pay for and brainwash with. Our work includes reducing corruption in Ukraine. Yeah, okay. Stopping disinformation. Oh, okay. Debunking. And building social trust. So I went into our supporters, and look who we find. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, Carnegie Corporation, Dream Blue Foundation, Ford Foundation, the Kellogg Foundation, Open Society Foundations, which is George Soros, the Schusterman Family Foundation, Mozilla and Adobe, of course, Walmart, Facebook, Google, Intel. They're all in. They're all in on this. You have the U.S. Department of State, USAID, like we were just talking about. Canada's in. Millennium Challenge Corporation, Ministry of the Foreign Affairs of the Netherlands. I can't read today. Ministry for Foreign Affairs Sweden, UNICEF, World Bank Group, Foreign and Commonwealth Office of the United Kingdom. It's just the who's who of GLOW operations. That's what we have here behind this group. This book, right? See, this is the thing. I don't necessarily trust RT, but all of this checks out. I didn't need RT, except for like the fact that they were the only ones showing us this book, because you're not going to get this from the West, right? So like, this isn't about RT. This is about what we were able to find on our own once we saw this book here, pushing for the war with Russia and Ukraine. They had written a book about the war with Russia and Ukraine already, and they were partnered with all of these groups that were directly funded by, among others, of course, the CIA. CIA front groups. Department of Defense I think is where it comes, the money actually comes from most of the time. Department of State as well was also posted, and then you have all the same players that you see everywhere else in Global Homo. So that's what we have here. I will be following up with another video exposing these ties further, like the grants that are going in, because this is where we really need eyes on now, is where is this money going? What are they doing with it? What evidence can we find online now of these people and their propaganda that they've been pushing, and their ability to fund these groups like Aidar Battalion that are neo-Nazi groups, and among other types of groups. I mean, that's just an ideology to confuse people anyways. What are they doing with this? How are they hurting the people of Ukraine with this? How are they brainwashing them? So until next time, thank you very much, and we will be back with another video on this for sure. Take care.